Have you ever wondered what happens when a billionaire steps in before the government can complete the process? Well, that is exactly what many Zimbabweans woke up discussing this Sunday morning. Businessman Chivhayo has announced a pledge of $1 million to help bring stranded Zimbabweans home from South Africa after meeting President Emerson Mnangagwa. The announcement has quickly become one of the biggest political and social talking points in the country. Supporters are calling it an act of patriotism and generosity. Critics are asking questions about the role of wealthy businessmen in national affairs. But one thing is certain. Zimbabwe is talking about Chivhayo once again. Stay with us because this story is about much more than $1 million. It raises a much bigger question. What role should billionaires play in building Zimbabwe? According to the announcement made on Sunday morning, Chivhayo met President Emerson Mnangagwa and pledged $1 million to assist Zimbabweans who are currently stranded in South Africa. For many families waiting for loved ones to return home, the announcement immediately brought hope. Returning home is not always easy. Many Zimbabweans face transport costs, documentation challenges, and financial hardship. A commitment of this size could potentially ease some of those burdens for people who have found themselves in difficult circumstances. The announcement spread rapidly across social media. Within minutes, supporters of both President Mnangagwa and Chivhayo began praising what they described as a patriotic gesture. Many argued that when citizens with significant financial resources step forward to assist fellow Zimbabweans, it demonstrates a spirit of national unity. Others described the pledge as an example of how the private sector can complement government efforts during times of need. Instead of waiting for lengthy administrative procedures, they argued individuals with resources can move quickly when urgent assistance is required. If you are enjoying this report and want more updates on Zimbabwe's biggest political and national stories, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. We bring you balanced analysis on the issues shaping the country every day. Supporters of Chivhayo say this is exactly what successful business people should do. They argue that wealth carries responsibility and that those who have benefited from doing business in Zimbabwe should also contribute to helping fellow citizens when challenges arise. According to those supporting the initiative, the $1 million pledge is not simply about money. They believe it sends a message that successful Zimbabweans can play an active role in national development. Many also pointed to the relationship between the businessman and President Mnangagwa. They argue that no government can solve every national challenge on its own and that cooperation between government and the private sector is essential for development. In their view, partnerships between political leadership and business leaders can help accelerate projects that benefit ordinary citizens. One of the strongest arguments made by supporters is speed. Government programs often require planning, approvals, and budget allocations before implementation. Private individuals, especially those with substantial financial resources, can sometimes respond much faster when emergencies arise. In this case, supporters argue that Chivhayo acted immediately after learning about the situation facing stranded Zimbabweans. Another point being raised is employment. Supporters say successful business people contribute to the economy through investments, job creation, and tax payments. Businesses employ thousands of workers, support suppliers, and contribute revenue that helps fund public services such as roads, schools, and hospitals. From this perspective, wealthy entrepreneurs are viewed as important contributors to national development. The announcement has also sparked discussions about patriotism. Many people supporting Chivhayo say his willingness to pledge such a large amount demonstrates commitment to Zimbabwe and its people. They argue that regardless of political differences, helping citizens return home is a humanitarian gesture that deserves recognition. Some supporters also highlighted the symbolism of the meeting itself. Images and reports from the meeting quickly circulated online, with many interpreting the occasion as an example of cooperation between government leadership and the business community. To them, the message was clear. National development requires contributions from different sectors of society. However, as with many issues involving high-profile public figures, the announcement has also generated debate. Some Zimbabweans have welcomed the pledge while also asking for greater transparency regarding how the funds will be managed, how beneficiaries will be identified, and how the program will operate. Others believe such questions are natural whenever large public commitments are made. Political analysts say announcements involving both government and influential business figures often attract strong reactions because they touch on issues of governance, accountability, and public confidence. While many people focus on the generosity of the donation itself, others pay closer attention to how the assistance will be implemented and whether it reaches those who need it most. Still, for many stranded Zimbabweans, the biggest concern is much simpler. They simply want to return home safely. Families separated by financial difficulties hope that any assistance made available will allow them to reunite with loved ones as soon as possible. For those individuals, political debates may matter less than practical results. Across Zimbabwe, conversations continue to grow. Some citizens argue that more wealthy Zimbabweans should follow Chivhayo's example by supporting national programs and humanitarian causes. They believe successful entrepreneurs have the capacity to make meaningful contributions to education, healthcare, infrastructure, and community development. Others believe the story demonstrates the importance of collaboration rather than confrontation. They argue that when government, businesses, and communities work together, more challenges can be addressed than when each operates independently. According to this view, partnerships strengthen national development. The phrase often repeated by supporters is "Nyika inovakwa nevene vayo," a country is built by its own people. Those backing Chivhayo's pledge believe this principle applies not only to ordinary citizens, but also to successful entrepreneurs who choose to invest their wealth in national causes. As discussions continue, one thing remains clear. The $1 million pledge has become much more than a financial announcement. It has opened a wider national conversation about leadership, patriotism, corporate responsibility, and the role of wealthy business leaders in Zimbabwe's future. Whether people praise the gesture or raise questions about it, few can deny that it has captured national attention. The coming days will likely reveal more details about how the pledged funds will be used and how the program to assist stranded Zimbabweans will be implemented. For now, Zimbabwe watches closely. Families waiting for loved ones hope the promise translates into real assistance. Supporters celebrate what they see as an act of generosity. Others continue calling for transparency and accountability. But perhaps the biggest question is still waiting to be answered. Will this $1 million pledge become a turning point that inspires more private sector support for national causes? Or is it only the beginning of an even bigger conversation about the role of billionaires in shaping Zimbabwe's future?